So in the last lecture we studied about functions. Two types of functions are there in JavaScript: inbuilt functions and user-defined functions. So if you want to create a user-defined function, then you have to use function keyword. Using function keyword, you can create a user-defined function. So in head part inside script tag, we can create a user-defined function. So here it is given function validate form. Validate form is the name of function. So inside validate form we can write function code in curly brackets. So this way a function can be created in JavaScript inside head part, and then we can call such function from body part. So all these things we have seen. At last we saw about JavaScript events. So to bring interactivity in web page, we can use various events. So on submit, on click, these are the names of events. So now we will see various events in JavaScript. Abort means loading of image is cancelled. So suppose when you are opening any web page and if you abort, it means if you cancel a particular loading of image, then automatically abort event occurs. And if you have written something, if you have written any code for that, then automatically it gets executed. And the next is blur event. See, these are the names of events. So blur means elements such as radio button becomes inactive. So when we move cursor from any particular object such as radio button, then blur event occurs for particular radio button. Click, user clicks on a form element. So for example, when you click on OK or any button, then on click event occurs for that particular object. The next is change. Value of a form field is changed by the user. So whenever we type something in particular text box or any other object, then the value of that object gets changed. So whenever you change any detail in a particular input object, then at that time change event occurs for particular object. Then error. Error means mistake. Error occurs during loading of a document or image. Suppose you are going to start a web page, and now in that web page it shows image, but now that image is missing. So at that time the browser will not be able to display the image. So there error event occurs. If such event occurs, then you can write a particular message that image is not being able to display here. So this way we can solve such problems. Focus. Element such as button becomes active. Remember, this focus event is exactly opposite to blur event. Blur event means to move a cursor from particular object, and focus, it means to take to put cursor on particular object. So when a cursor gets on particular text box, when a particular text box is activated, then focus event occurs for that text box. Then load. Document or image is loaded. Loading means to start in memory, in computer's memory. So when we start any web page, then the document gets loaded in memory. At that time load event occurs. Mouse out. Mouse moves of the element. So suppose particular button or text box is there, and on that you have put mouse. Now when you move your mouse pointer, the mouse pointer moves off from particular object. Then for that object, mouse out event occurs. Same way mouse over event is there. So whenever you take cursor on a particular object, then for that object, mouse over event occurs. Same way reset. Reset is a button that clears the form data. So when you click on reset button, the reset event occurs. Same way select event is there. User selects a form field. You might have seen in several web pages that when some document is written, when you try to select it or you try to right click over there, then it will show you a particular message that this page cannot be copied. So at that time, select event occurs, and it directly executes a particular function code which shows the dialog box. So this way we can prohibit the selection or copying. Submit. User submits a form. This event we have seen already. Then the last is unload. User leaves a page. So whenever you close a particular web page, then unload event occurs. You might have seen that whenever you close a particular web page on internet, then it asks you whether really you want to close it or not. So that is unload event, and inside unload event, a particular code for displaying a message is written, and that is why it shows that particular code. So this way events help us to create interactive or dynamic web pages. We will see some examples of such events. For example, mouse over event, how mouse over event works. So you can see here OK button is there and mouse pointer is there. When mouse pointer comes over the OK button, then for OK button, mouse over event occurs. You might have seen in some browsers that whenever you take your mouse pointer on a particular icon, then that icon gets activated. It shows some details regarding that particular web page. So that is on mouse over event. Same way another is on mouse out event. So already your cursor is on particular object, means OK button suppose. Now when you take over your mouse pointer from that object, then mouse out event occurs for that object. So this way we can create interactive web pages using events. Events. When an event occurs, a specific JavaScript code is executed in response to a given situation. This code is JavaScript's code and is also known as event handler. So here you can see form on submit is equal to return validate form, name is equal to frm, method is equal to post return. So here the detail given in red color, on submit is equal to return validate form. So on submit is the name of event and return validate form is the name of function, user defined function that gets executed when we click on submit button. So this is known as event handler. Event handler names are kept the same as the name of the event. For example, the click event will have an event handler as on click. So if you want to handle click event, then the name of the event handler is on click. Same way for submitting the form, the name of the event handler is on submit. So same way in our example, we want the validation to be done when the user clicks the submit button, that is on the submit event. So we need to use the on submit event handler. This event handler will call the function validate form. The function will return a value So the function will return a value either true or false depending on whether the name field has a value or null. Remember, in computer, null means nothing. So if there is nothing written in text box, then it is said that there is null value in text box. So remember, null means nothing. Now we will see what is a variable. Remember, a variable is a container for storing data. Whenever we create a variable, it gets stored in computer's memory and not in hard disk. So whenever we close the computer system, the variables get destroyed. It is a name in which we can store a piece of data. So we can give a name to a variable, and inside that name we can store a value. The value may be integer or decimal number, or it can be text, anything. So it gets stored in computer's memory. A variable can be created in JavaScript using var keyword. Remember, var keyword is used to declare a variable. And JavaScript is case sensitive, so you have to keep in mind the keyword var you must write in small letters here, remember. So for example, var x, this will declare a variable. So here var is known as keyword, that is used to declare a variable, and x, small x, is the name of variable, and it gets stored in computer's memory. Here x is the name of variable. So remember, x, small x, is not the same as capital X here. For example, var x is equal to 50. Then document.write capital X if we give, then this is wrong statement. Actually, it will not show you any error, but it will not print 50 value. So here JavaScript will consider both small x and capital X as different variables. So it will not print 50 value. In several other computer languages, we need to specify the data type for the declared variable. So whenever you want to create a variable, then you have to give data type. It means what type of data you want to store in particular variable. So data type decides the type of data to be stored in a variable. For example, in C language, there is a very popular language, C language. We can give statement int space x semicolon. So here x, small x, is the name of variable, whereas int is the keyword that is used to declare a variable x of integer type. So it means that we can store only integer value in variable x. But in JavaScript, the data type for a variable is determined at the time of assigning value to the variable. So not at the time of declaration. At the time of assigning value, it determines the type of data in variable. For example, var x semicolon. This is declaration statement. It will not determine the data type of variable x, but when we give x is equal to 50, it will create variable x of integer type. So this way JavaScript works. Now, popular if statement. The conditional statement if is used to change the flow of the program. The if statement evaluates an expression to validate specific condition. If the condition is true, then the program enters if block and executes the statement inside it. So in our example, we have written JavaScript statements as given here. You can see whatever written inside script and slash script, that is JavaScript code. Here we have created function validate form. So inside curly brackets we have written function code. So we are x is equal to document.js1.username. It means that in browser screen, that is known as document, inside browser js1 is the name of form, and inside form js1 there is a text box named username. So whatever we have written inside username text box, that value dot value will get stored in x variable. So suppose if you have written ram, ram, then the value of x will become ram. X is equal to ram. Now if statement is given. So if x double equal to null, remember null means nothing here. It means if there is nothing stored in x variable, so it means you have left username text box blank. Then double pipe sign is given. This double pipe sign is known as OR operator. So x double equal to null or x double equal to double inverted comma, and inside double inverted comma there is nothing written. It means blank. So if you have not typed anything in username text box, then it will display message alert. So inside alert it is written please enter the username. So it will display this message. Then document.js1.username.focus statement is given. Focus is here a ready-made function, inbuilt function. So it takes the cursor on username text box, and then at last return false is given. It means it will not submit the form. So in JavaScript the control structure if is an inbuilt function. Here if is actually function. The structure of if is if, then inside round bracket we can write condition. Remember here while using if you have not to give semicolon at the end. Then curly bracket, then we can write statements, curly bracket over, then else part, then again curly bracket, again statements, and then curly bracket over. But remember here this is control structure. It means out of these two statements only one statement will get executed at a time. So if this condition becomes true, then it will execute the statements given after the curly bracket. So it will execute these statements, and if condition becomes false, then it will execute the else part given here. Remember in our example we have just used only one portion of this if statement. Else part we have not given here. So this way we can use if statement. So if will execute any of these two statements. If structure, this statement if x double equal to null or x double equal to double inverted comma checks whether the value in variable x is null or not. Here remember null means nothing. Double equal to sign is known as comparison operator. There is a difference between equal to and double equal to. If you give x equal to 5, then it will store value 5 inside x variable. But if you give x double equal to 5, then it will compare x with 5. So double equal to is comparison operator. It compares whether the value of x is null or not here. If it is null, then it will execute the statements given in between the curly brackets. Double pipe sign is known as OR operator in JavaScript. Operators we will see ahead. It connects two conditions, x is equal to null and x double equal to double inverted comma blank, using OR operator. Here it is it returns true if any one condition among the given two conditions become true. So two conditions are there, x double equal to null and x double equal to double inverted comma. If any one becomes true, then the entire statement becomes true. So if the value of x is null, then it will execute the following statement. So then it will execute alert, please enter the username. It means it will display a dialog box, and in that it will show you message, please enter the username. Then document.js1.username.focus. It means it will focus onto username text box. Cursor will come there. Then return false, which means it will not submit the form. So it shows a message, please enter the username. It focuses the cursor onto username text box to enter username, and then it returns false at last in order to cancel the form submission. Now document object model. Actually this topic has been removed from syllabus for this year due to corona. And remember, in this chapter number 2, page number 38 in your textbook and page number 43 to 48, these pages are removed, so it will not ask you any questions from these pages. But according to the guideline, they have told that we should learn these topics. So just we will go ahead. Document object model. So at the top there is Windows. Inside Windows there are three categories: history, document, and location. History. Whatever web pages we have seen, that will get stored in history. So from history option we can view our previous web pages, what we have seen. Then document, the white portion of web browser in which it shows the various information, that part is known as document. And location is used to find out the location of particular connection. So inside document there can be links, forms, anchors. Anchor or link, both these are the same things. Inside form there can be radio buttons, text areas, buttons, text boxes, check boxes, password boxes, reset button, and select and option tag that is used to create a pull down menu. So these are the objects that can be there in a window, in browser window. Now we will see a few questions regarding JavaScript. Who developed JavaScript? Remember, Netscape company. Netscape developed JavaScript. What type of web pages can be created using JavaScript? We can create interactive or dynamic web pages. Which tag or element is used to write a JavaScript code? So script tag. Script and /script is used to write JavaScript code. What is the purpose of JavaScript code in HTML? So purpose of JavaScript is to validate the form data. Actually there are several purposes. Among these we have to study this. What type of language is JavaScript? Client side or server side? Well, the JavaScript is client side scripting language. And what type of language is JavaScript? Case sensitive or not case sensitive? It is case sensitive. Which character is used to terminate JavaScript statement? So if you want to terminate JavaScript statement, then either you can give semicolon or line break, means enter. Which is the keyword to declare a variable in JavaScript? var is the keyword in small letters. For JavaScript, there is no need to give type attribute in script tag. That is, no need to give type is equal to text oblique JavaScript, because JavaScript is default scripting language for most of the browsers nowadays. which method or function is used to print detail on web browser window. So we can use document.write function. Write is the name of function and document is a part of browser window. Here we have to write document.write in small letters. Remember, D we have to write in small letters. How many types of functions are there in JavaScript and which are they? Well, two types of functions are there: inbuilt functions and user-defined functions. A user-defined function can be created in JavaScript using which keyword? Well, we can create using function keyword. What is double equal to sign known as in JavaScript? That is comparison operator. Then double pipe sign, that is known as OR operator. What is the meaning of null? Null means nothing.